once heard a Vietnam veteran describe this area of Mississippi as being uncomfortable for him to visit because it's too much like Nam. That was fucking validating to hear because, dude, it is absurd right now. It's not. I don't even think it's 9 a.m. yet, and it's already a good 80 degrees out here, probably. And I mean, it's nice right now. Honestly, it's like 77, probably not quite 80, but it's still pretty humid. And as soon as you get in the sun, it feels really hot. In the shade, it feels okay right now, but just for right now. I'm sure it's gonna get blisteringly hot later. And bugs, bro. Pestilential fucking bugs. Bugs. More bugs than you've ever fucking seen in your life. There's just like a pestilential fucking cloud of mosquitoes buzzing all around. Damn it. Bugs suck. In Thailand, I always buy in bulk. Mosquito repellent, or else they just eat me alive. Man, goddamn, I'm blind, bro. I could just barely read that. Man. I hope someday I'm able to afford new glasses again. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know. I probably should just run inside and throw on a coat of that fucking repellent shit, but I never fucking... Honestly, that never worked for me anyway, so I just fucking deal with it. I just deal with the pestilential fucking swarm of plague mosquitoes. I swear they weren't this bad 2 days ago. At least that one was just an engine transfer. Oh, man. Get out of here, dude. Man, if this is gonna fucking be how it's gonna be, I'm gonna have to figure out some other way to do this, honestly. I'm gonna have to figure out some way to start doing them inside, because I literally cannot hang with the amount of mosquitoes that are out here right now. Don't worry, some people pay good money to be blinded. Yeah, well, I don't want to be blinded. I would like to be able to see. But you have to pay out the ass for medical care in this country, so I think I'll just fucking hold off on that. No, there will probably come a time in my life where I literally just don't have glasses because these ones have just shattered or fucking become so destroyed they're irreparable. And I'll probably just have to go without glasses for the rest of my life, honestly. Because I'm never able to hold down a decent job that offers really good insurance long enough to be able to take advantage of it and get the fucking care that I need. And, the jobs that I have demonstrated success in keeping down offer bullshit insurance that doesn't pay for fucking optometrists and shit. So I'll just do without glasses for the rest of my life, I guess. Lord knows the American fucking medical system is never going to get fixed. No, they're perfectly fine relying on people like me to run their cash registers and run their fucking lobbies and clean their hotel rooms and do all the shit work that none of them want to do. But they don't want to fix the fucking systems that rule this country so that people like me can fucking get medical care. I'm just sick to death of it, dude. I feel like we live in a slavery society. I feel like that's the level of upkeep that we're expected to deal with. Like, slaves actually had to be assured housing, food, and some level of medical care. They found a way to make us feel free while actually meaningfully providing way less freedom. My eyesight's getting pretty bad. I like gaming into the late hours of night. Been begging my dad to allow me to get laser eye surgery with his doctor friend. That would be nice. I would take laser eye surgery, but honestly, I would be fine with just another pair of glasses, bro. I would be perfectly fine with another pair of glasses. But like I said, I don't know what series of events are gonna have to transpire fucking for me to be able to get a goddamn new pair of glasses, so I've just given up on it. I've given up on the idea ever happening. Because it just seems like I'm just gonna have to pay for it outright. And it's just like, there's always something that's of greater importance, you know? Always something more pressing than my damn glasses that needs to be paid for. So it's just like I've made thousands of dollars over the last, I don't know, 5 months from the 2 different jobs that I worked over the last 5 months. I made like $4,000 from both of those jobs if you combine them together. Was I able to spend any of that money in furtherance of getting me glasses? No. Because the threshold that I have to manage to be able to meet in order to meet all of my obligations and have money left over to not just like get me through to the next paycheck, but actually have enough to pay for something like a big deal, like a new pair of glasses. What 2 jobs do you have? Well, none right now. Between jobs right now. It doesn't matter though. Whatever shit tier entry level job I get next is not going to provide fucking insurance. It's going to cover glasses. So what the fuck does it matter? To me, functionally. The only reason most people work those jobs is because it's work or starve here in America. It's work or starve. It doesn't matter how shitty the job is. It doesn't matter how shitty the benefits are. None of that shit matters because America needs our labor. And America has set itself up to where if you want even a baseline level of security or autonomy, you have to be working one of their shit jobs. Unless you luck into one of the better ones. American healthcare sucks. I'm trying to help my BF get on HRT and get top surgery, and it's impossible. Hell yeah, it's impossible. It's impossible to do any fucking thing in this goddamn country unless you're rich. If you're rich, America's the land of the free, man. If you're rich, dude, America's the land of fucking success and opportunity. But if you're fucking poor, you can't do shit in this country if you're poor. You can't get medical care, you can't get food, you can't get housing, you can't get fuck or all. And the few people who do qualify for the few programs America does have are basically forced into staying in those programs basically forever by the way they're set up. It's a bullshit system, and the way it's administered sets Americans one against the other. Just leave then? Oh my god, I would love to. Are you gonna pay for my trip out? Because I'll do it right now. Pay for my trip out, bro. I'll do it. Please. Please. Oh my god, I'd love to leave this fucking goddamn country full of morons. I would fucking love it. Oh man, I'd love it so much. Please. Send me away. Send me to a place that actually cares about their people. Send me to a place that actually sees fit to distribute their tax wealth in some other way than the fucking military-industrial complex. Send you to a Muslim country. I love how we're just supposed to put up with being fucked over by our employers, the medical care system, and our government because, oh, well, you don't get killed for being gay here. Great. So we're just supposed to accept the economic, we're just supposed to accept economic slavery because I'm not going to be killed on the basis of my presenting a certain way. How about this? How about you don't kill people for presenting a certain way and you provide a fucking decent standard of living the way the UK does or Canada does or Germany does or any other fucking Western civilized country does. But we don't do that. You know why? Because we're America and the almighty dollar is the only thing that matters here. People have to die because profit must be derived from their treatment. People have to be killed by their insurance companies because that is the most expedient way to get more money out of that system. It's the most expedient way to save on fucking costs. Here, let me silence some of these dumb bitches. I'm sick of listening to their bullshit. I'm sick of reading their fucking stupid bullshit. There's literally one person I've seen commenting that has an IQ even remotely above room temperature. I'm smarter than almost every single one of you, and I'm sick to death of trying to read your comments that are nigh on unreadable and that are as uninformed as a comment can be. So if you cannot engage with a baseline level of intelligence, you are now silenced. Engage in good faith or be gone, bitch. I don't give a fuck. And if at this point you can't see the obvious theft that's underfoot, the obvious stealing that's going on from people on the lower classes and being given to people in the upper classes, if you can't see that obvious transfer of wealth at this point, you're just a moron. Either you don't see it because you're a moron, or you do see it and you choose to ignore it because you stand to profit on it in some way. In which case, you're a moron and a piece of shit because you don't recognize that your own self-interest is wrapped up in this fucking country getting over its fucking obsession with profit. Because if we don't get over this obsession with profit, I hope you guys know this country faces the same fucking... This country right now is on a knife's edge, and it could go one way or the other, and depending on which way it goes is which way the world goes right now. So if America decides to get its shit together and to start providing its people with a baseline of care and to start prioritizing something other than the profit motive, if America starts doing that within the next 2 years, next 3 years, next 10 years, something like that, we start to do that, the world will follow with us. The world, those of our allies who haven't been doing as good as they could be, will begin to do better by America's example. Those of our allies who need help to do better would be in a position to be helped by us. But we don't want to do that. Like I said, profit motive is the only thing that matters here. And it's short-term profits too. It has nothing to do with long-term success. It has nothing to do with the possibility of someday gaining greater stability or security. It has to do with, I want more money right now. Elon Musk and Bill Gates and people like the billionaire class in general, that is their singular obsession, is their singular motivation. More money right now, fuck what comes next. Even I'll admit, Phoebe, I do love money. I just wish everyone could have a way to make a decent income without selling their soul literally or figuratively. I mean, I don't love money. I love some of the things that money is able to provide for a person. Like when I eat a good meal at a restaurant, I'm glad that I had the money to do that. But ultimately, I still resent money as a concept because I genuinely believe that human beings could conceive of a world where you don't have to pay in terms of money for things, where you engage in things that you want to engage in and what you spend your time in ways that you feel impassioned to spend your time, and other people enjoy the fruits of your labor, you enjoy the fruits of other people's labor, and we all coexist peacefully and cohabitatively or whatever. cooperatively too. I think we are genuinely capable of coming up with a world that works like that. And I don't think money would need to be a necessity in that world. But yeah, I wish people had that too. I really do. I really wish people had access to the ability to make a decent fucking living for themselves without selling their soul, literally or figuratively, without without destroying their bodies, without destroying their minds. Here's a wild socialist idea. What if people could live lives where they prosper and find freedom and autonomy in a world where shit, I forgot what I was going to say. I hate when that happens. You ever just like lose your train of thought halfway through a sentence? Anyway, there's 146 people in here. Make sure you guys hit that like button. It really does help. Every single time you hit that like button is another chance for this stream to be recommended in someone else's algorithm, which does nothing but make this stream more interesting and your experience better by virtue of it being more interesting. So yeah, go ahead and hit that like button. It really does help. Also, if you want to make absolutely sure that one of your comments gets read, if you're afraid I didn't catch it, if it's an important question to you or something like that, please send it in the form of Super Chat, as long as and it's got a variable character limit, so just donate a little bit more if the comment you want to send is a little bit longer. And I read every single one of those, unless it's got something in there that would violate the terms of service to read, in which case I don't read it then, for obvious reasons. I'm not going to get banned over the matter of $20 or anything for those, but I do see the little thing up there telling me whether or not I've got any. Do I have it on? No, I have it on top messages. There we go. Now it's on all messages. But yeah, I don't love money. I love some of the things that money in theory enables, but I don't love money. Although, Perseus, I do wish that you had more control over your money and over your family's money, because I have a business idea that I think, dude, if I could just access the capital to do it, and maybe I would probably honestly need to find a mentor, but I genuinely believe that even if I could just get the capital to do it, I think I could make it successful. I want to do a food truck with my recipes for a few specific Southern favorites, and I've thought about it so fucking much, and I've thought about how it could be made. Like, I already imagined how it could be made so fucking efficient and profitable and shit, and I just wish I knew somebody that had like $100,000 to throw at a new business, to throw at a startup, from somebody like me who has never ran a business before. What would be your alternative to money? That's what I wonder all the time, Percy. Honestly, I wonder that all the fucking time. What would be the alternative to money? Because when I talk to people about this, they'll say, "Well, the reason why money is how we distribute resources, because that makes sure that people have to, people have to be productive or do something and participate in the economy to get money." But that's not what it means, right? It means that working class people, if you're born without money, you have to work and participate in society in order to justify your right to eat and everything. But if you're born into money, you just move your money around. And that by itself generates more money, and you just kind of like passively exist on the basis of that, So it's not a fair system. Money is like a patently unfair system for doing things. So what I would rather see is some kind of social credit system, maybe some kind of resource distribution based on some kind of system that is based on the amount of work and socialization that you put into the society that you're in. Maybe work isn't even the right way to put it, right? Because I would like to give people social credit points or whatever it would be for picking up trash along the side of the road, or for trimming trees, or for any job that's done by any type of person nowadays. I think that's something that we should reward as participation in society. And I think creative participation maybe could be rewarded just a little bit marginally more um, to encourage people to explore that side of themselves. And especially now that we're looking at a world where AI has become so dominant and where so many jobs can be done by computers and robots, it's making less and less sense that we have a bunch of human beings expected to do a bunch of menial labor and paid for that, instead of having some system that's based on participating in society in whatever ways are possible at that time. I feel like money is going to become an increasingly obsolete system with the rise of AI and the development of human culture in response to that. People people tearing away from technology and forming their own little tight knit communities and organizations around uh, like community self sustenance and things like that, and people fully absorbing the fucking technology and maybe engaging in some of those behaviors too, but mostly getting more and more ingratiated into this new and technological world that we're facing. The society you explained earlier as a socialist economy requires each other to rely on one another. Therefore, doing the things you love almost becomes impossible. That's not true. That's just a misunderstanding about how a socialist economy would work. If everybody was actually contributing at all equally to the upkeep of one another, then those of us who currently don't have any time to do the things that we love because we're busy working two jobs, or because we're busy like maintaining a household and taking care of a bunch of other people, we would have more time to do the things that we care about. It's only because we have such a dysfunctional society. Like, think about it. You act like people have a shit ton of time to do the things they love right now. Like, I'm in the privileged position of being able to do a lot more of the things that I love because because I'm well, I would say between jobs right now, but I guess my partner is actually going to be going back to work here soon, and I'll be staying home to take care of the babies. So I guess I'm really going through more of a transitionary period right now. Um but a lot of people aren't in my position, like most people aren't able to be a stay-at-home parent anymore, and most of those people get maybe an hour or two every day to do the things that they love, and maybe 2 or 3 hours on their days off. But it's not like they can spend all of their time doing that. And they would be able to spend a lot more of their time doing that if there weren't a fucking billionaire class that needs to be given the ability to do that all day. That's the fucking problem. Because the billionaire class demands a life of luxury where they are able to literally do anything on the planet that is available to do at any time of the day, anytime they want, and because so much economic energy is expended in the furtherance of that, that's the fucking um, that's the problem at issue here. Kamala voter, what the fuck do you know about me? What makes you think I voted fucking period last year? You would need more specific people than You would need more specific people than everybody. If I were to do things on a local size and I try to manage my assets, they need to be a part of somebody else's. What I'm saying is, socialistically, imagine if I had a business right in a socialistic value, that company wouldn't be mine, it would be yours. What? I don't think you understand socialism that well, bro. I really don't think you understand socialism that well. Can you tell me the difference between socialism and communism, just as a demonstration? Like, prove to me that you are familiar with these concepts. You would need to do the work, and I would need to rely and do the work for you. Yeah, kind of like right now. I love how fucking, dude, it seems like conservative business owners, you're a business owner, aren't you? Because I feel like this is one of these things that would never even occur to someone who spent their whole life working for other people. People who've spent their entire life working for other people are well familiar with the idea of having to work for somebody else's company to make them rich. They are well aware of that because that's the system that currently exists. That is the way things currently are. If you are not born into money, if you are not born into a business, you work for other people to make them rich. That is your purpose as a human being. You work for other people, not yourself, not your family, not or other people that are not related to you and have none of your benefits in mind, none of your interests in mind. You work for other people to make them rich. That is the current system. What I am advocating for is a system where we work for one another to make the whole of society better off. Unless you were born rich or born with a family that owns a business, you were just a serf. Exactly. And Perseus, lest anyone in here think that Perseus doesn't know what they're talking about, Perseus is a rich Thai heiress that's being educated in the UK. They've traveled the whole world because they hail from a fucking rich, politically connected Thai political family. So lest you, like, this is literally a child of the bourgeoisie telling you that I'm correct. Retards. Literally a child of the fucking bourgeoisie telling you, yep, she's right. You're just a serf if you don't own a business or you're not born into a wealthy family. You're just a peasant. And they're right! She's right. Perseus is right. I'm right when I say that. No gods, no masters, no fucking kings, no lords. No bourgeoisie, no rich capitalists. I don't know how well that would translate to transactions, though, Phoebe. The society you propose. Let's say I wanted to eat at a restaurant, the bill would be equivalent to around £100. How would you pay that? I really don't know if it would be a system that's based on every single time you do a certain thing, you get this amount of reward for it, or if it would be I think the fairest way to do it would probably be to have the social credit system be based on a system of maintenance. So so number one, I think everyone would be entitled to a baseline. I think everybody would be entitled to like a baseline, bare bones. You, at the very least, you've got the house that you were born into, or the land that you were born onto, or you can get a basic housing in the city or something like that, you know, or somewhere out in the country, whatever, right? Baseline for everybody, just right off the bat. But if you want to do more than that, if you want to get a nicer place to live, or if you want to eat nicer foods or a wider variety of things, or more than the like specific baseline, you can't fall below this kind of ration is, whatever that is, right? Then you do the things that are normal as far as participation in society. You volunteer, you you quote unquote work for different organizations, whatever whatever the worker co-op descendant of current companies would be in this eco-futurist utopia. But basically, it'd be based on a system of maintenance, like a think about like a credit score right now, right? It's not like every single thing you do on your credit instantly reflects to a bump on your score or a decline in your score. It's a system of maintenance where every month you're making your payments, or you're taking out a little bit of debt and making some payments, and then taking out a little bit of debt, making payments and cycling it through and everything. and it's based on maintenance. It's based on the idea that you keep doing it and that it's cycling through. And I think a system of social credit would probably work similarly, where as long as you like are doing a certain amount of things, then you've got a certain score that corresponds to that, and like every single thing corresponds to um, I don't know. Like, I don't know how the automated system that would run this, I don't know how it would apportion the score points or whatever. I don't know if it would be like a weekly thing or a monthly thing, but yeah, I would imagine you would just be looking at what has this person done in terms of their direct interaction with other human beings and their participation in the social society that we live in. And points would be apportioned on the basis of those things. So um, if they're like an incredibly creative person and they're incredibly driven and they're just like constantly out there doing shit and like they're not cleaning the roads, they're helping out at a coffee shop that they really like, and if they're not at the coffee shop, they're helping out a community activism org or something, or sorry, I was listening to a certain bird. Anyway, um, if you have somebody like that, they're obviously going to incur a lot more social fucking so what were we calling it? Social credit points? Yeah, they're going to accrue a lot more social credits than somebody that is just I don't know, helping out at their uh, family restaurant every so often or something. That, but that's basically all they're doing. That person's probably not going to get the same thing as somebody who's like constantly doing things in furtherance of living in um, a more interesting and functional society. Ultimately, though, I think that human beings should be able to get over this idea of the labor-based theory of value. I think at some point we should be able to completely get over that idea, because at some point technology will make it kind of null and void. At a certain point, it will no longer make sense to have human beings doing anything that they aren't interested in. Damn it. Motherfucker. Hold on. I don't want to sit here with no fucking tobacco. I'm unwilling. So I will be right back. I'm gonna clean out my vape and then plug it up. I will be right back. Okay, we're back. I'm not going to say all is right with the world, but things are certainly better than they were. What's up, Glitch Dash? Fuck yeah, fuck yeah, fuck yeah, yeah. In an ideal work, maybe it'd work, but I'd wager we aren't in an ideal world. I find your lack of faith disturbing. In my opinion, we don't live in an ideal world because people refuse to make it an ideal world. This world, as far as the human world is concerned, is not designed to destroy us. We actually do live in an ideal world. If the world wasn't ideal for life, then life wouldn't exist, as proven by the fact that life is so rare, as far as we can tell. As far as we can tell, we're the only planet where it has successfully happened, and left enough people in it to produce fossils and shit. Not people, but enough animals and things like that. So, in my opinion, the fact that there's such an abundant fossil record proves that there's ideal conditions on the planet Earth that don't exist on any other planet. So when it comes to just the planet itself, we do live in an ideal world. When it comes to human society, I think it remains not ideal because there are moneyed interests who have money to be made on the basis of it not being ideal. An ideal world is one where everyone is fed and clothed and housed. An ideal world is one without poverty or hunger. An ideal world is one with proper medical treatment. Want to see what happens in socialist countries? Talk to the many men and women and children in North Korea. North Korea is not a socialist fucking country. North Korea is a fucking oligarchy. North Korea is a fucking kleptocracy, bro. North Korea is not socialism. I love it. I love it when people look at countries that claim to be socialist, but if you know anything about socialism, you know that they're not socialist. I love it that because people can look around and see a few countries that claim socialism despite not being that, and they'll just believe their fucking own description of themselves. For some reason, the DPRK lies about every goddamn thing under the planet, but the one thing that they are truthful about is the fact that they're communists. Like, what the... Huh? Do you hear yourselves when you make these arguments? Do you guys hear yourselves when you make these fucking arguments? You want fed, then work. You want clothed, then go to work. You want house, then go to work. You are a slave, and you will do as I tell you. Yes, bro, I'm well familiar with the fucking ideas of 18th century robber barons. I'm well familiar with the motives of plantation owners in the 1700s. I'm well familiar with their attitudes. Being a child of the South, I've grown up with the outgrowths of them my whole life. And your attitude is no more fucking valid now than it ever was in those times. Your only value to society is your capacity to make a rich person richer. That is how you derive value in your place in society. Were you not born rich? Then your destiny is to make me rich. Man, what a humanistic ideology you have, friend. I believe God-given in the sense that the Bible lays out my fucking ideology pretty clearly. I believe they're God-given and that the Beatitudes makes it pretty clear what Jesus thought of the rich. I think they're God-given rights in the sense that the Bible lays out pretty clearly what should happen to foreigners when they're in your lands, or what you should do to someone who strikes you upon one cheek, or what you should do to someone who steals your cloak. Christianity lays out a socialist ideology, and in that sense, yes, I think those rights are God-given. Why not just apply at Hooters? I don't have one near me. I would, but I don't have one near me. Or a strip club, for that matter. No, I don't know. I'm going through a transitionary period. My partner's about to be starting a job, and I'll be the parent that, stays at home and does the dishes and sweeps up and takes care of the farm and that kind of thing while they're at work and watches the baby, I'd work at Hooters. Who wouldn't, honestly? I bet working back of house at Hooters is pretty cool, because from what I understand, some of their dishes are made in-house. You should work at a Hooters, Phoebe. I'd come and visit. Yeah. You'd have to get permission from your parents to come and visit, and I think you'd have to make up a pretty elaborate excuse to get them to let you. I'm going to save this. Fact is, the socialism was real when the country started, and it was real as a country exists, and as North Korea continues to exist, we will always have a living example of socialism. What is socialism? Can you just define it for me? Because when I think socialism, I think ownership of private property allowed, but or what is it? Ownership of personal property, totally fine. Ownership of private property, as in you own land that you don't even live on, not fine. Land that isn't lived on or occupied by something specific, like a specific co-op's organization, like something like that, a business of some kind, is held in commons. That's what I think of when I think of socialism, and that's not the system Korea has. That's not the system either of the fucking Koreas have. North Korea has a unit, like a, what would they call it? Like an authoritarian, like a totalitarian dictator. Like most of the people in that country are broke and poor, and Kim Jong-un and his closest circle of advisors and the people in his high organizational tiers and shit are all rich and powerful, and they're fucking, they've got plenty to fucking eat, but none of the people on the bottom do. Even the people in the upper tiers and that are allowed to be in the eye of the national public, even those people look skinny as fuck. So in what sense is that a socialist system? Yeah, see, you still haven't defined socialism because you don't know what it means. I am from a very socialist country called Iceland, born and raised. It's the most organized and best place on the planet. That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard. North Korea is not socialist. Yeah, but Philippines, good luck getting diehard, I'm gonna fucking worship capitalism till the day I die type of Americans and people like that. Good luck getting them to believe that, dude. In their mind, socialism is when country do bad thing. As near as I can tell. Hey Phoebe, how is sex work regulated in a socialist country? Probably no differently than it's regulated in a capitalist country. There's I'm not 100% sure what you're asking. You realize a socialist country can still operate, like a socialist economy can still operate within the bounds of money. Like there's such a thing as market socialism, which intrinsically includes money as an aspect, and I think market socialism is uniquely positioned to be able to deal with the issue of prostitution in terms of regulation and distribution and all that. More socialist systems might have to come up with more unique ways to handle these issues, but I believe we're capable of it. Human beings are a resourceful sort. The reason why I am saying all of these things is because you portray yourself as an advocate for humans, and you speak I speak ideas about a country filled with utopia of ideas, but that are fed by your lifestyle, but any individual who truly believes in the idea of human rights and freedom understands the dangers of socialism, what it can do to people. I asked you a specific fucking question, and you have yet to answer it. Your next comment better be a direct answer to this question, or I will ban you. What is socialism? I've asked you this 3 times, and you have dodged the question each time. You will answer it with your next comment, or you will be banned. Situation individual, because I'm literally sick to death of people talking shit about concepts they don't even understand. They've literally just heard the word used to refer to a certain country before, and now they've taken it and ran with it as if it actually represents that idea. Asking him for a definition, but you seem to struggle with understanding it yourself. No, I don't struggle with understanding it at all. If I struggle anywhere, it's in understanding the distinction between communism versus socialism, which is something that's debated highly among the left, but that I've always had problems really seeing the functional difference in, you know? To me, it seems like the main difference is that socialism is a little bit more accommodating to the ideas of free market economics, you know, like there's more of those ideas that could be incorporated in socialism, whereas communism focuses, communism what's the word I'm looking for? Posits a society wherein everything is done communally and for the benefit of the collective, you know. But I've at least got a better working definition than this person seems to have, which is none. Yeah, okay, banned. I asked you 3 times, what is socialism? You couldn't answer it. I asked you 3 times for a specific and succinct definition of socialism, and you cannot give it. I can give a specific definition of what I think socialism is. I might be wrong on that definition, but I can at least tell you what definition I'm working with. And my definition of a socialist economy would be one that is dominated by worker co-ops with some involvement by regular markets where housing is guaranteed to citizens of that country, and where basic necessities are guaranteed to the citizens of that country on the basis of shared wealth distributed through taxes, primarily on business transactions and land transactions, things like that. That's my understanding of a socialist economy. See how I was able to give you like a cogent definition? It might be wrong. It might not be 100% accurate to whatever you'll find when you Google it, but at least I've given you the definition that I'm working with, which is something that person couldn't manage to do. They couldn't manage to squeak that out in how many attempts? You can't answer it either. I think you should study more political science. How? I just answered it, moron. I literally just answered it. Co-ops like farms. Have you ever heard of a worker co-op? You say I need to study more political science, but then you don't know what a worker co-op is? Accuses me of not answering the fucking thing that I literally just got done answering, and then says I don't know anything about political science after or right before making a comment that shows they have just about not as much knowledge about political science on a high level that I do. It's, oh man, you people are exhausting sometimes. I agree with your definition, but how would you achieve shared effort? I think that a lot of the countries that kind of have been calling themselves socialist and that people usually agree with when they do, so like Iceland, Norway, these countries that have pretty socialist policies and that manage to remain economically powerful and things like that, I think that these countries are a good example of how we should aim to achieve that. ultimately, all of us are participating in shared effort right now. Those of us on the working class, those of us in the, those of us on the bottom rungs of society, that work the entry level jobs and the second tier and third tier jobs. Those people, all of those people, are participating in a system of shared effort right now. It's just that our shared effort isn't put back into our upkeep. We're all participating in a shared effort that's being, the lion's share of the benefits from it are being taken up by people who functionally do nothing but move money around all day. Yeah, dude, saying I'm ignorant about the topic is a great argument, bro. Great argument. You've really demonstrated the virtue and truth of your own position. You called me out on my stupid shit, so now I'm gonna call you ignorant. Sorry. Explain communism versus socialism? Pretty sure I did a few minutes ago, but since you apparently had wax in your ears at the time, I'll reiterate it. As far as I know, the distinction between communism versus socialism lies in the compatibility of each with free market ideals. Socialism being more compatible, communism being less compatible. I didn't hear you earlier when you said a way to replace money or finding some way to make your proposed system work. I'm at work and dealing with customers with very limited intelligence. Fair enough. They're soccer fans. I guess you can't blame them. Well, I don't know what parts you did and didn't hear, so it's kind of hard for me to know what I should go back to, honestly. I was just suggesting like a social credit system of some kind, where like a maintenance-based social credit system, where it's like, you know, if you're doing things to benefit your community and participate in the world around you, then you're rewarded by being able to go to nice dinners and get a better apartment or a better house. What if the manager of the shop says, nah, bro, your 40 hours this week are nothing compared to this guy with 50 hours? Let me see here. How would that translate to value? X amount of community hours of work equals to X amount of budget for a nice dinner. Um, I really don't know. The thing I don't get about advocating against capitalism, right, is that you're allowed to advocate for capitalism and not have any fucking idea about economics. As long as you're advocating for capitalism and capitalist shit, you're allowed to have you can say the most absurd shit, right? And nobody except people on the left will question you, which means most people won't fucking question you, you know? But for some reason, if you advocate against capitalism, if you advocate for any kind of more social or like community-based system, if you organize for anything that's collectivist in nature as opposed to capitalist in nature, then all of a sudden you're expected to have every single answer to every single problem. I'm just going to admit that on this one, I don't know what the best way to dip it up would be. I would love to talk to some people who've actually done research into the idea of resource-based economies and things like that. I would love to talk to some of those people and get an idea of what they think would be the best way to divvy things up like this. Here's what I know now. A system where most people are born into a system where they literally have to break their bodies and break their minds and spend the balance of their lives making other people wealthy, where the people who are born into that wealth never have to do a fucking thing if they don't want to. That system, fuck it not being fair, it doesn't produce good outcomes. Fuck it not being fair, yeah, it's not fair, but fuck it, we can deal with a little bit of unfairness in the world. It's not like fair that the universe does the things that it does in some ways, but we can deal with a little bit of unfairness. What we can't deal with are tremendously tragically bad outcomes, and I think the tremendously tragically bad outcomes are proven by capitalism time and time again. Almost every fucking bad thing that has happened on the planet in the last 150 years can be traced directly to someone wanting to make millions of dollars. If you're prescribing a better system, you have answers for why it's better. I do have answers for why I think it would be better. What I don't have answers for are exactly like the minutia of how every single thing would be divvied up, how every single thing would be made different. And you see, that's the difference, right? If you're talking about an idea that fits well within the capitalist framework, you're allowed to not be sure about this aspect or that aspect. But if you're talking about socialism, if you're talking about communism, or if you, like me, are talking about, hey, let's just come up with a new economic system that doesn't fuck a bunch of people over, that doesn't prevent a bunch of people from getting access to their healthcare regularly, etc., you are expected to have the ins and outs of every fucking side of that system. You are expected to know the nooks and crannies of it, all of the arguments for and against it. You're expected to be like a fucking college professor about it. And anyone who's not, don't take that person seriously, because they don't have the answer to this question that honestly would probably require debate by the people. I wouldn't want my personal idea of how things should go in a truly collectivist, somewhat utopian society. The society I want to build would not be the world according to Phoebe. It would be the world according to the people. And if you look at what the working people of this, not just this country, but the world want, it has been socialist in nature for like 200 years now. It's probably been socialist in nature the entire time there's been a fucking lower class. If you read the Communist Manifesto, that's what Marx postulates. Marx puts out there that as long as there have been human beings living in civilization, living in civilizational form, there has been an upper class and an underclass, and eventually that underclass is able to take the upper hand and gain control, and then another lower class is created out of the rubble of that, and on and on and on and on. The bourgeoisie, for example, were at one time members of the lower class. They were essentially just peasants who had a craft, or who were able to ingratiate themselves on a couple of traders to be able to set up some kind of trading post or something like that on that peasant's like I don't know enough about British medieval history to know what an allotment, I guess. I don't know what it would be called, but the little bit of land that a peasant might have originally was they were part of the merchant class, which was an outgrowth of the peasant class. And then the bourgeoisie took over, right? They became completely dominant in society as they sort of grew in power and shit. And then a new, a new lower class was created on the back of that, which were um, it was just like basically an outgrowth at that time of the serfs and peasants of Renaissance Europe, who um, after the Industrial Revolution began, and like even in the years leading up to the Industrial Revolution, technology was starting to take off in bigger and bigger ways. That allowed population boom, and as the noble class became fewer and fewer in number, the bourgeoisie grew in number, but also kind of secluded themselves into the cities and into estates and things like that. Uh, the the peasantry experienced kind of a boom. It's also been said that part of the way that the bourgeoisie was actually able to, this is just an interesting history fact, but part of the way that the bourgeoisie was able to kind of revolutionize their place in the social strata is because during the Black Death, a lot of people died, a shit ton of people died, and it wasn't really particular to class, color, creed, or race. It pretty much killed everybody with impunity. And in the wake of that, there were all kinds of power vacuums. There was all kinds of land that was now up for grabs, basically, because there was nobody living on it. There were whole villages and shit that were wiped out by the Black Plague, effectively. They were wiped out to a point where they were abandoned, you know? And in the wake of that, Europe saw a transformation where a new class took power and shit. Rockford, Illinois, that's a suburb of Chicago, isn't it? Are you a happy person? I guess. Relatively. But yeah, I've always thought it's absurd that, you're allowed to advocate for whatever crazy dumb shit you want as long as it fits within capitalism. But the moment you start going outside of that system, man, you are expected to know the fucking answers to every question under the sun. Suddenly you're expected to be like the economics master. In this society, do you have to work, contribute, or really participate in society to receive the benefits of housing, food, etc.? Well, I think that a baseline should be provided to everybody because I think that most human beings want to be productive in some way. I think most human beings want to, at the very least, be having conversations and interactions with other people. I think there are very few people who would just, succumb to doom scrolling and doing nothing all day if they had the opportunity. I think most people want to be doing something. And so I think that a baseline should be provided for everybody, even if that would enable some people to just go around doing nothing. But I do think that I do think that you should be rewarded commensurate with your willingness to participate in society, right? Because I think that that's just encouraging pro-social behavior. I think that that's a good thing. Human beings are a cooperative species. Everything we know about our psychology says that we work best in teams. We work best when we have access to other human beings. Like I said, we're a social species. How we're. That's how our psychology is, and I think that we should reward people who want to participate in society in whatever way that involves. Right? Some people are creative. They want to make art. They want to produce things in that way. Some people want to work with their hands and produce things that way, and make things pretty, etc., etc., etc. A baseline income would create less anxiety. Oh, fucking hell yeah, it would. Hell yeah, it would. I mean, a universal basic income would go so fucking far towards um, alleviating people's anxiety and stress in general. Honestly, if it was like $1,000 a month, which is what that's what Andrew, what was his name, Andrew Yang. That's what Andrew Yang was proposing way back when, and a lot of people don't think about how much that would change so many people's lives. I mean, that would fucking change my life overnight. If me and my partner were both receiving $1,000 a month apiece, and that's on top of her income from working and my income from doing YouTube and shit, we would have so much more power in the economy. We would have so much more ability to spend. We would have, I would be able to get glasses. They would be able to get the things they need. It wouldn't be an income that would, it wouldn't be an income that would launch us to massive heights of success or anything. We would still have to work pretty hard to get to anything like, major success. But what wouldn't happen is our bills not getting paid, and we are not the only family for whom that's true, and luckily we're usually able to pay our bills, but in this transitionary period, it's been kind of tough, and that sort of thing is prevented, and you don't have to rely on your social safety network that exists within your community and your family when you've got a system that is designed to support people when things fall short, or that is designed to give people a baseline amount of support to live with. Now, I think honestly that if you did that, I think a universal basic income would have to come with some price controls, because otherwise you're just going to see people, not people, you're going to see companies raising their prices on a bunch of shit just to make up for that new boost in income. It's like, ooh, all these people got a boost in income? Well, let's see how we can fucking squeeze that out of them. Prices go up because now they know they can afford it, etc. And we're back in the fucking same place as we were. So I think you would have to have some price controls on shit. But honestly, I already think there should be price controls. Well, at the very least on some necessities, like I'm pretty sure Britain has had price controls on bread for like 500 years or some shit. How would we afford that, though? Where would the money come from? Not every country is rolling in the GDP like the U.S. What do you mean? How would we afford it? How would we afford what? What, a UBI? I don't know, but you guys are going to have to figure it out, because otherwise you're just going to be and when I say you guys, I mean the bourgeoisie. I mean, I'm talking to you, Perseus. You guys are going to have to figure that out. Y'all are going to have to take some pay cuts or something, because there ain't no two ways about it. Because the greed of people within your class, I'm not saying you specifically, but the greed of people within your class has created a system where human beings are squeezed to the maximum, or almost to the maximum. We're about to pop or just desiccate and dry out into a little husk. And this system has extracted so much wealth from the lower classes to give to the fucking upper classes that it's getting kind of hard to buy groceries. Getting kind of hard for people to buy groceries or keep a house or a family, all of which are things that you need those people to keep doing if you want to continue being a billionaire and your family wants to continue being billionaires. Like, if you want to continue being rich, you better figure out a fucking way to get those people the money to continue spending, because if you don't, the system's about to collapse. Yeah, I feel if everyone could suddenly afford a $50 meal as a treat, the $50 meal would turn into an $80 meal. Unless you price controlled it, which we would definitely have to do. Because yeah, I think if you just give billionaires a gift, they're just going to take that gift. I don't think we should be giving the billionaires a gift, though. I think the working class are the ones who need a gift. And this is one of those issues where I just kind of throw my hands up in the air and say, hey, this is not my problem. This is one of those things that has nothing to do with my opinion. This is economic fact. This is economic fact as reported by a number of economists. The system we are in right now is unsustainable as it exists right now. It's gonna collapse. It will collapse because there's no UBI. And AI is replacing all the jobs. That's not me. I didn't make it that way. It is that way. You have to cope with it being that way. But once again, I didn't make it that way. Hold on for 1 second. Let me go fill these rabbits' water bottle up. Anyway, but yeah, this is not a matter of my opinion that things are going to be this way or that this is what needs to happen. I'm just telling you what will literally have to happen in order for this system, as it currently exists, as it currently runs, to be able to. That was weird. I think I can think of a few people to go first on the proverbial or literal chopping block. What do you mean? I'm not sure what you're saying there. Was I talking about getting rid of people? Damn it, I forgot that this thing's dead. Damn it, I need nicotine. AI is getting insane. It is. AI is getting pretty fucking nuts. I mean, to some degree, it's always been nuts, but it's getting nuttier and nuttier by the day. You're so pretty, thank you. But yeah, Perseus, I don't know. Maybe not every country needs a UBI, but America needs a fucking UBI. Because America is facing a crisis. Andrew Yang was right. Dude, and the amazing fucking thing is, Andrew Yang was right, and people made fun of him for it. And, like, some people made fun of him for it. Some people were like, he is right, you know, learn to code, etc. But ultimately, none of us fucking listened to him, because now, look at everybody. Artists all around, running around, screaming like their heads are getting cut off. Screaming like a chicken with their head cut off or something, like frantic about the idea that AI is replacing their jobs. Because they fucking laughed and scoffed years ago when when Yang said, sorry, I got my billionaires mixed up. But when Musk was saying, God damn it, I did it again. When goddamn Yang was saying what he was saying about jobs being replaced in 5 to 10 years, we're in that 5 to 10 years, guys. We've been in it for like 2 years now. And we've just seen job after job after job after job die to these machines. I mean, Walmart has had automated tellers for what, 15 years now in some of its stores? Nowadays, there's automated tellers in every single Walmart. You can still get a human cashier. Sure. Yeah, that's still a thing. They're less common than they used to be. When I first started working at Walmart, we had almost every register filled. We had almost every register occupied. Nowadays, maybe 4 or 5, and the rest, it's all fucking self-checkout. Most business is going through self-checkout now. That's one job that's been replaced by AI and robots and shit. What about another job? Waiters, slowly being replaced by AI. Literally. Look at my previous statement before that. All I see is, yeah, I feel if everyone could suddenly afford a $50 meal as a treat, the $50 meal would turn into a $80 meal. That's all I see. I don't know, maybe I missed something. Weird, yeah. YouTube will sometimes not include a comment. Yeah, I don't know, it's not on my end. Let me look at top messages. Let me look all messages. Yeah, no, I can't find it. I'm sorry. You can always resend it if you want. But sometimes YouTube will just clip comments, and I do have some blocked words in my settings, so. I don't want for communism. That's a wild thing. That's just a label that gets thrown on anyone who's advocating for a different economic system that's from capitalism. I know enough about communism to know that's not the system that I want. I know enough about communism to know that it's got some good ideas, but some stuff that I'm not a big fan of. I know enough about communism to know that it was written for fucking, written for an international working class back in the 1850s that was unionizing in greater and greater numbers. So, just like the Constitution has needed updating a few times throughout the years, I think that it's about time our economic ideas get some updating as well. But like I said, if you advocate for something outside of capitalism, communism is the label that gets thrown on you. Communist, socialist, anarchist. Anarchist I do kind of vibe with, though. I vibe with that. Not capitalist equals communism. America moment. My American friend was telling me not to mention the NHS if I'm ever in Texas because they'd call me a commie. Oh, hell yeah, dude. People literally call you a communist for any fucking thing here in America. Socialism, then. My point is, you want to rid us of a class system? I think that we would be better without an economic class system, yeah. I think that human beings would probably be better off if there wasn't an upper class that was constantly stomping on the lower class. Yeah, I think that'd probably be for the best. I think it would be for the best if American citizens and global citizens could live their lives unimpeded by the necessity of bourgeoisie pricks to make money. Yeah, you would probably be called a commie for that as well. Like I said, they just love calling folks commies. Show some tits. I'm not gonna show tits on YouTube, bro. Get the fuck out of here. Stop being weird. Fucking weirdo. Ugh. Oh my god, Perseus. You're such a horn dog. No, there would not be a higher class that decides where shit's allocated to. I think in a perfectly socialistic society, those decisions would be made by the whole of society. I think those decisions would be, in fact, optimally with the technology we've got these days, I don't know why it wouldn't be done by AI. I don't know why we'd leave it in human hands at all. Listen to this. Watch as this person now redefines the argument to be like, well, then AI would just become the hoarder. Then AI would just become the upper class, and then they would just start hoarding shit. It's like, okay, just tell me you're defensive of the idea that you have a right to exploit people for money and get over it, bro. Just admit it. Just admit you are attached to the idea that you have a God-given right to exploit your tenants for rent money. You have a God-given right to get more out of people than you put in. You have a God-given right to be an exploiter. Just admit it. Just admit that's how you feel. You'll be more honest with yourself. You say we can't. I say human beings do and have all the time. Every time a motherfucker says we just can't have socialism for this, that, or the other reason, I just want to say, huh. I always just want to say, huh. A lot of folks didn't think we could fly either. We did that. A lot of people didn't think we could go to the moon. We did that. A lot of people didn't think we could circumnavigate the world in a plane. Did that. Seems like every single time there's a group of doubting people out there believing that human beings are simply incapable of a certain act. About every time we demonstrate that we are more than capable of it. I'd reckon they'd be made by a collective decision. Single woman with 2 kids, triple food allocation. Yeah, exactly. Right. That's what I would assume, right? I would assume that it would either be made through collective decision making or through an AI. Either one of the two. The AI would probably be even more trustworthy than leaving it up to the human beings. I mean, if you just program an AI that's just designed to deal with that specific issue of resource allocation on the basis of how much is being produced, how much is needed by this person, that person, and another person, then, you know. You know, I may not be the best advocate for economic leftism and shit, but you know what I do think I excel at? Demonstrating the based monstrosity of some people's position when it comes to economics. Anyway, I think I'm going to go ahead and go. It's been fun, but I think I'm going to call it here. You guys have a fun night. Remember to join the membership if you want to at some point be able to do members only chats. I think that would be really, really fun. And the memberships aren't too expensive. I think they're only like $2 starting out with. So join that. It really does help. It, every bit of participation that you guys give in this chat or with the channel in general. Sorry, mosquito. Really does help the channel, and I really do appreciate it. So thank you guys, and I will have a great night as long as you do.